Welcome in, everyone. Just lighting the incense, preparing for our live paint and chat today. How's everyone doing on this nice Thursday mid-morning? I'd love to know how your week's going, how your day's going. And actually, I'm going to flip us around so you can get a little bit more of the canvas there. That might be a little better. Okay. So I have sort of a loose topic for us today. We're really just intuiting all the things here, as I like to do. But I yesterday, released a Substack titled, "Are We Forgetting How to Be Human?" And kind of just wanted to riff off of that today. I put in the title here, "Are you tired of the grind?" So I'm just going to start by asking everyone present a question. Are you tired? Are you tired of the grind? Do you feel like our world is going faster and faster? Am I the only one that feels this way? Because I do. I feel like, oh goodness, I feel like almost like the world is exhausting nowadays. It didn't used to be, but I got my tea with me. But it feels exhausting. It feels like we have this 24-hour, it's not even a news cycle anymore. It's just constant social media, constant. And it feels like that never stops. And it feels like, for me personally, like there's never-ending stream of notifications and messages, and you know, I'm the type of person, I like to keep my inbox on 0. So you get through all these notifications and you go to a different app and there's more notifications. And then you go to a different app to unwind and there's more messages to read, notifications. There's always something to scroll, something to read, something to respond to. And I'm just curious if anyone else feels exhausted by it. Is anyone else just over all of this? It feels for me, it feels chaotic. Feels like there is a lot going on. And then, of course, you have what I would say is like your real life things to do around the house, that list, right? And then you have social engagements, which are fun. I love those. And community involvement. Maybe you have kids and they have things to do. And it just feels all very overwhelming to me. Back, 100 years ago, not even 100 years ago, probably 50 years ago, it seems like we had I'm just going to open up. You can't see, but I'm going to open these up. I forget that voila, love these. These are watercolor crayons, studio series. Love these. So we're going to do something cool here in a minute with those. But it feels like just not too terribly long ago, we had our inner circle, your family, your close friends, and, maybe a few other people that, you're in contact with or in groups with. These people you'd spend time with. And then, remember these days? Does anybody remember this, right? Do you guys remember, okay, maybe you have some extended friends, some extended family, and you get phone calls, every now and then, like maybe every couple of months. And the rest of the time, I just, and well, millennial, so I grew up kind of remembering both before this and in this. And it just felt so calm in comparison to where we are now. Very zen, calm. Like, yeah, there was still plenty to do, but there was space, you know? I just feel like now, like where we currently sit in society, I feel like there's no space. Does anybody else feel this? Is this just me? So I've been really writing a lot, again, like I said, on Substack about just this feeling like everyone is busy, and it's like people can make time to make posts, but then they can't answer your text or your real life phone calls. It's like, but that's how we're actually supposed to live, you know? I get something to open these. We're actually meant to commune deeply with other humans. We're not meant to be fulfilled by scrolling and by being alone, by tuning other people out. And yet that's the world that we seem to be living in now. And I find it very perplexing, and I can see how it induces anxiety and depression. I know when I'm keeping myself online in this world, I tend to even lean towards feeling discontent and unhappy. So what are we going to do about it? Anybody relating? Oh, yes. Hello in the chat. Antoine, hello. Yeah. So it sounds like you're can relate, feel the same way. And so for me, the colors that kind of feel like that overwhelm, as you see down here, orange, red, black, even had some brown, feels very chaotic. So what can we do about it, right? How do we change this? How do we get back to feeling more like this? I'm going to come back to that one here in a second. So a couple things we can do. Thank you so much for the kind emojis. Hi, Sandra. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Hello, welcome. Yeah, so how do we go from this chaos back to, what our grandparents had? What our parents had? Maybe you, like me, remember it. Just simple. So a couple things. One thing I would say is be mindful of who you're subscribing to and what you're signing up for. So really curating your feed on whatever app you're on, YouTube, social media, TikTok. I mean, that is forms of social media, but really getting specific about who you are following and liking, and the ones that stress you out, just unfollow. Just clean and clear boundaries on your device. Just a simple unfollow, I've noticed, can really help ground your energy when you are strolling and help you stay in the positive and not get distracted by the negative or the, even just senseless. Sometimes the senseless stuff is just exhausting to me. So being really intentional about who you follow and how you follow them, and only following things that really light you up and bring you joy. Giving yourself permission to release anyone who doesn't. Another thing that I am like so incredibly big on is just get offline. I have been doing this new practice where when I feel like it's the end of the day, right? You're exhausted, you just got off work. I'm curious if anyone else does this, or if you have other tips, feel free to drop in the comments. But I have made a little sticky note for myself. And when I feel like I want to sit down and veg, right? Like watching TV, scrolling, often doing both at the same time, which I think is probably the worst for your brain and for your nervous system. It doesn't actually let your nervous system unwind. We think it does, but it doesn't. And so I've started this little tiny sticky note I keep next to my recliner. And in this sticky note, I write things that actually bring me joy, things I like to do that I forget to do. Things like painting, going for a walk, being in nature, even just playing with my plants outside for a little bit. And reading's a big one. So I keep my books by my recliner, because right in my living room, when I get to my recliner, that's where I'm tempted to just numb out. And I've noticed that senseless scrolling, lots of TV, it really doesn't make me feel better. Maybe momentarily, but not very long. And so if I stop and I pause and I look at my sticky note, I give myself the opportunity to choose something different in that moment. And I really play mind games with myself. I'll say, okay, sweetheart, it's me talking to myself. Okay, sweetheart, how about you read? Hello. Hi, glad you're here. How about you read for just 10 minutes? Just read for 10 minutes, and then we can watch a show. You know what happens in those 10 minutes? I start reading somewhat begrudgingly, and then I keep reading. And then I'm kind of into the book or the magazine, whatever I'm reading. And then 10 minutes goes by and I'm like, oh, I really want to keep reading. I feel good. I feel calm. I feel my nervous system relax. And so I usually end up continuing to read for a while, and that feels so good. But it's almost, I don't want to say tricking, but yeah, it's kind of tricking ourselves into choosing that calm, choosing to read rather than scroll, choosing to go for a walk rather than tune out, choosing to call or text a friend or visit a friend rather than just scroll. Because what I'm seeing that's really concerning me is I'm seeing close friends of mine. I'm seeing them act out, ask for help. They're screaming on social media. And then I call them and they don't answer. That's not a good way for us as society to carry on. In fact, it's really harmful for our nervous systems. Whew, feeling like I'm channeling now, feeling all those sensations. Yeah, it's hard on our hearts and our chakra systems. We're not meant to live alone or just spew our lives over technology. We're meant to connect deeply with other humans. So I'm just giving you some options here. So basically what I'm suggesting is make yourself a little tiny sticky note. I like to use a sticky note because it's not so overwhelming as a huge page. Make a tiny sticky note. Maybe just a little note of things that bring you joy, things you like to do. And put it right next to your couch, your recliner, wherever you kind of feel tempted to numb out. We'll say numb out. And just give yourself that challenge to first check in and ask, would you rather go for a walk or a bike ride? Would you rather make a cup of tea first? And just encouraging yourself to make tiny, tiny, tiny choices that help reduce the chaos and help promote that sense of calm and spaciousness. I'm feeling, and this is definitely channeling, feeling the word spaciousness come through today. And I'm loving this big white space that I'm leaving open, intentionally leaving that space open so that something beautiful can come through. And that's kind of what I'm sensing Spirit is saying here today is, can you leave yourself open for spaciousness? Can you leave space in your life and not fill it with how we started, right? With all this, it's almost like digital clutter, digital chaos. And so one thing, like we talked about, one thing is to very intentionally curate that digital space and to release the negative and the chaos. Another thing is to make your little sticky note. Keep that sticky note nearby of things that actually bring you joy, that you can look to and choose those things first before going back online. Most of us spend all day online anyway, working on the computer, working at our desk, working on the phone. And so it can be really, really rewarding to put down the devices and go outside, go do something positive. So, and then I'm going to really share here the importance of other humans in our lives. Talking to loved ones, sharing your heart with a trusted friend rather than the whole wide world online. Yeah. We need those heartfelt, deep connections. And those people need us. And that comes from being with other humans in person, in the flesh, not necessarily over memes and social media and stuff. Anybody else here with me live? Or watching the replay, you can drop in the comments if you have some tips, some things that have helped you. Feel free to share with our community. We're all on this journey together. This journey of calm, this journey of feeling good and choosing things that help us feel like our best selves. That's what this community is about. Choosing and curating, intentionally creating the positive, That's what brings us that beautiful spaciousness, that beautiful joy. From that joyful space, from that quiet spaciousness place, that's where intuition is born. That's where creativity lives. That's where we can really start to feel our best selves. And we feel our best, we're able to live our best, to serve others more deeply, to be more present with our loved ones, to practice kindness. When you're feeling joy, you're usually really right in the center of your purpose. When you're in your purpose, you're serving the world in the way you are meant to. Sometimes just being present with other people is the greatest act of service you can give. Another thing I've been doing is just doing 2 minutes of breathing before I sit down to watch a show. Just giving myself time to come back to the present. Not feel so rushed from item to item, from work to scroll to messages. Can feel very hectic. So again, just focusing on the joy, focusing on what brings you joy, making space for more of that in your life. That's what's going to do it. I really like this hot pink for joy, kind of passionate fire that comes from doing something you love. A little bit of creativity coming through. We're still leaving that space. I'm liking that space here. That feels good. And then the orange can now signal something really beautiful. Something really creative here. Nice. So if you're wanting to cultivate more of everything I'm talking about, just that spaciousness, that quietness, that connection to yourself and what really grounds you and makes you tick, I have published several journals over the years, like with journaling prompts and things to think about. And one that I would recommend, I have here with me for this kind of what we're talking about vibe, is this Brazenly Beautiful. It's the basics on getting clear and confident in your life's journey. And so this is my copy. So we've got sticky notes and things in there, but I have 7 different chapters. One talks about, sitting in silence. getting to know yourself. All these journaling prompts are really helpful. So I'll leave a link below if you're interested. It's a nice place to start. It's a good journal to just kind of start working on your self-discovery journey. So you can also go to thesparklinghippie.com, HIPPIE, and all of my resources are there. So I also work with people one-on-one. I'm redefining what that looks like at the moment. Literally this week. Took no clients this week so that I could really work on redefining how I show up and serve people. I just want to do one more quick thing. This will be, you won't get to see this finish, but I'm just going to put down a little background for my next project. This is the last page of this journal, you guys, so you know what that means. We have a sketchbook. It's not really sketching, but a mixed media sketchbook tour coming soon. Maybe next week we will tour this sketchbook. You can see what I've created. It's always fun to watch, I think. So, okay, I'm going to let this dry and we'll have a nice, beautiful background for our next painting. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am working on consistency with myself, and I want to do these paint and chats regularly at the same time every week. We're looking at Thursdays. Today's Thursday. Looking at Thursdays at noon. Let me know in the comments. Is this a good time for you? Are there better times? Time that works better? I've also thought about maybe doing later in the afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock Central. But I'm here for you guys. I'd love to know what you prefer. I'm missing a marker. What color am I missing? Where did it go? Anybody ever do that? We'll find it. Anyway, I appreciate you guys tuning in. These are just soulful, intuitive chats, just designed to kind of give you something to chew on, something to watch, something fun to do. So thank you all so much. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Talk to you soon.